Hi, I'm Joan Lok. In my upcoming workshop, I'll focus on the painting of the outline of rocks and how to group them. As you are aware, I have been requested to do various series of landscape workshop focused on the texture stroke, different kinds of. And in the process of developing my course, what I realized is a lot of artists actually don't have the proper information of how to do the outline sketch before they add the texture stroke. As you are aware, in my I have explained this in many of my landscape lessons that the classic way of doing the landscape, you first of all, you do the outline sketch, basically do the outline, and then you add the texture stroke. There are multiple kinds that you can choose from. And then from there, you add the rubbing across sketch strokes, and then you can do the wash and also the dots. And those are usually the classic way of doing a landscape. And because of that, when I was teaching how to do different kind of texture stroke, what I realized is many artists actually don't know how to do the first part, which is to build the kind of outline or the profile of the rock or mountain before you can add the different texture stroke to it. So in this particular lessons, what I'm going to do is actually we'll go back to the basic. We'll go back to how to do the outline of the rocks. Mind you that, you may have a reference photo, but then a lot of classic sumi-e landscape, they are inspired by nature, but a lot of times the artist actually painted in the studio with the memory and the accents of the feeling from the landscape. So most of the time it's actually done freehand without a reference photo, but with the idea of the various mountains or river or streams in mind. And because of that, these strokes are done freehand. So how do you actually execute this? So I'm going to give you a step-by-step on doing that. But doing that itself is not hard. What is hard is how to group them together, because you don't really want one single mountain or one single piece of rock. You want a group of rocks. So I will explain two classic way of grouping the rocks, which is small between big ones and also big between small ones. So there are also classic way of, what do you use it for? And then on top of that, besides a classic or a typical rock, they are of course, different shapes. So we'll also cover different kind of rock shapes, where they are round, they are square, they are pointed, slanted, or flat. There are different stroke to explain and denote them. And on top of that, of course, we will do our demo painting of how to add the shading and the texture stroke, and then we will roughly cover the texture stroke. But then this particular lessons will really have a deep dive into how to create rocks, the outline of the mountain freehand, because this is, as I mentioned in many of my landscape lessons, this is the kind of like the first foundation of how you build your landscape. You have to have, various outline of the shape of the mountain before you can add the multiple different choices of stroke you have on it. So I hope you will join me. This will be an extremely good foundation for all landscape artists to want to have a systematic way of building rocks, building mountains, and also choices of, if you're doing it freehand, like how do I group them? How do I, make a decisions to ensure that the composition looks natural, makes sense, and also depict the kind of landscape and feelings I'm going to convey. So I hope to see you in this upcoming workshop. Because of this, I'm actually moving this workshop earlier, in earlier months before I continue with my texture stroke. So hopefully after you work on the step-by-step of doing the outline, all the subsequent lessons on various kind of texture stroke, you will have a very good base of the outline to build the texture strokes on. So I hope to see you in an upcoming workshop focused on how to do rocks and its grouping. Thank you.